We are live in Waterloo, Iowa, where right off the Cedar River, the Hippodrome was built 106 years ago. And what better way to start season 2 of the Arena League than a rematch of the championship game. Welcome in. I'm Riley Underwood alongside the Hall of Famer, the Heisman Trophy winner, Tim Brown.
Janitor was one of the jobs that Jeremiah Farms had while playing indoor football. Heck, professional indoor football is pretty impressive for a guy who played at Friends University, an NAIA school in Wichita, Kansas. Now he's playing for the Super Bowl, because anything less just wasn't an option.
That's what's been such a veteran presence on this team all year long. The grad student knows her spots, knows how to get there, and she's doing it again today.
This week, it's Justice Ross Simmons. 23, you got mossed. First drive touchdown. And man, Fran Brown is a risk taker because the onside kick works to perfection. Orange go up 10-0 before Clemson touches the ball. Kate Klubnik says, don't count me out just yet. We're still Clemson. Drops it in a bucket with defender all over the receiver. 3-point game before Will Nixon increases it to 10. Talk about dimes. Steve Angeli, Daryl Gill. The Cuse has got some receivers. Angeli tosses 2 touchdowns and no picks. A Tiger doesn't even believe it. Lightning delays halftime. 96 minutes later, we resume play. Syracuse up 24-14. Third quarter, Angeli goes down for the second time in the game. This time, he doesn't get up so quick. On crutches with a boot on the sideline. Didn't look good for the nation's leader in passing yards. 5 minutes to go, Tigers need a drive. Klubnik picked off. Davian Kerr, icing on the cake. Syracuse wins on the road in South Carolina, 34-21, and improved to a perfect 1-0 in conference play and 3-1 overall. Next Saturday, Duke comes to the Dome, a matchup that hasn't happened since 2020.
He doesn't wear shoes. He doesn't use utensils, he barely drinks any water, eats raw meat, and hadn't had a vegetable since 2022. Mac Hollins is the most interesting man in football.
Georgia Tech head coach Karen Blair told her team earlier today, we have an opportunity. That opportunity to get a quad 1 win over a really good Syracuse squad. The Orange a little over halfway to 100, so let's check out how they got to that point. Syracuse leading right now 53-33, and it all started because of number 5, and she looks like a PTP or primetime player early. Layla Felia drains a 3.
Jaquan, you were my player to watch before the game. You made me look like a smart guy. What was the key to be so successful today and get a double-double in the win?
That just shouts out to my teammates. We was playing together.
One of the coolest nicknames in sports belongs to Josh Dobbs. The Pastronaut is an aerospace engineer. He's worked with NASA. Oh yeah, he's a quarterback for the AFC champions.
Uche Izoje just too big for the Wildcat defenders. She was dominant today in the paint. Nice athletic feed by Maddie Potts. Gets it out to her teammate Camden Nelson. Nelson again, a nice drive, a little English off the glass for 2.
Joji Purdy trying to come out of this one with the ball. She does, and she ends up giving Penn State the lead 2-1, and it looked like the Nittany Lions had run away with this one. There was only 5 minutes to play. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Something's not right, Syracuse said. We are not done. The penalty corners weren't working in the first half. The fourth corner, they showed out. Bo Von Kempen with the goal. That ties it up at 2 apiece. Thinking we're going to overtime. Penn State falls asleep at the wheel. Lana Hamilton gets credit for the goal, the game winner.
Well, I got my summertime staple, even though it doesn't feel like it. And the Syracuse Mets fans I talked to said that the time they get to spend together here at the ballpark makes it all worth it. Super Bowl 59 will be the 11th in New Orleans, but the Superdome hasn't always been the venue. The first Super Bowl Louisiana hosted was right here at what used to be Tulane Stadium.
Dominique, this is your first season with Syracuse. You've really come into your own this year. Your 6th total of college basketball. Your dad played here. What does Syracuse mean to you?
It means everything. This school gave me another opportunity to continue the game that I love.
J.J. Starling and Donnie Freeman, the only 2 scholarship players that returned for the Orange, but those are 2 really big players to get back. Sure. J.J. Starling, I mean, he's the leading returning scorer. He's a veteran presence on this otherwise kind of young-leaning team, but he was really glad they went out and got another guy to duo with him in the backcourt, and that's Nathan George from Georgia Tech, one of the best point guards in the country, frankly. coming into the transfer portal. He led the ACC in assists, over 6 per game. I mean, he's an elite passer, and I really like this pairing because it lets J.J. Starling play his natural 2 slot and lets Nathan George run the 1, run the point where he's really dangerous out in transition.
A world championship is most players' ultimate career goal. But 2 in your first 2 seasons for your hometown team, that's something of storybooks and boyhood dreams.
He had 1 score on the ground, 4 touchdowns. Well, he also had an interception.
Yeah.
But his interception was on defense.
It was on defense, yeah. He called it an interception.
In 2018, when a video emerged of him pushing and kicking a woman in a hotel, Kareem Hunt was a name unspoken in Kansas City. Now he's on the road to redemption, trying to win a Super Bowl for the team that cut him. Janitor was one of the jobs that Jeremiah Farms had while playing indoor football. Heck, professional indoor football is pretty impressive for a guy who played at Friends University, an NAIA school in Wichita, Kansas. Now he's playing for the Super Bowl, because anything less just wasn't an option.
I was a car pusher. I was a janitor at a laundromat. I was a substitute teacher. I did construction cleanup. I did Instacart. I did all of that.
After Friends, he spent a year training to finally get signed by the Wichita Force of the Indoor Football League.
That was hard on me because I was actually at the point where I almost gave up because it didn't feel like football, but it was something I know I needed to do to give me another work ethic and push me to get out of the arena.
He earned a spot in the USFL for a year and impressed enough to sign a contract with the Patriots in 2022.
I did think I would be here because I went through all that and I had this vision. So, I went from playing on a 50-yard field in walls to playing in the Super Bowl. So.
That's a guy that's really real hard worker. Got a real work ethic. He really loved the game of football because how he work on his game and his footwork, his hands and everything. Just a real ball player. He a real dog.
Oh man, he's someone who works hard every day, shows up to work, willing to put in the work in. Underdog. So he's always in grind mode. I love him.
Farms is the first ever player from Friends to make the NFL. His message?
Keep chasing your dreams. Don't give up. I almost gave up in arena, and if I'd have gave up, I wouldn't be here. And I got through this season. It's been ups and downs, on the roster, off the roster, release, brought back. So if I can do it, you can do it. Only God knows, and I trust him.
Farms is now 29 years old and on the brink of an adulthood dream. The story? Never give up. In San Francisco, Riley Underwood, Newhouse Sports.